Well, you have one of the most closely watched ankles in America. How is it feeling?
It's doing well. A lot better this Tuesday than what it was last Tuesday, so I'm very thankful. Our training staff is doing a great job, and we're just monitoring it, and should be good to go.
Given what you had gone through last season with it, how much of that just initially went through your mind after the Washington game in terms of like when you start to feel it a lot more?
Yeah, well, thank goodness this one obviously is a lot better than the last one. Able to still get on it and play, kind of go through some of the aches and pains of it because I've kind of been there and kind of know what to expect with the ankle, and so I think that, to be honest, has kind of helped. Just already had been through it in the past, kind of know what to expect with this one, how to treat it and stuff.
Is it kind of surreal at this level? Like in the NFL, you see injury reports like on a constant, it's on the ticker. But at college, is it a little weird to see like literally every day what your status is and like what's going?
No,
that's on the
I guess
ticker?
not, because I mean, a lot of guys in the country that injuries are one thing about college football. If a guy's injured and it's kind of uncertain, it's kind of the buzz around. I guess Bryce was the same thing about a month or two ago. So it's just kind of college football, social media, and that's just the way we're going.
There's a video.
Ever shut your phone off to from friends back home? Hey, are you gonna be able to play? I hope you.
Well, thank goodness I have very polite friends and very polite contacts. They are close enough with me to where they kind of stay out of the way at this point of the season, and then after the season they'll kind of ask me how I'm doing. But every once in a while it's off and on, so it's not like a whole bunch of people at once. But I do turn off social media a lot and just kind of get away from it. Got a lot of distractions on that, and there's plenty of other stuff I can be doing with my time.
Can you quantify a performance like that just in terms of realizing your own resiliency on Saturday?
Well, to be honest, I've done that before. In high school, coming off of a broken ankle, kind of reminded me of that, and it's just wanting to be out there and play in those kind of games. It's just what it comes down to. And if you're standing, if you're decent, like mobile enough, the quarterback position can kind of get away with it, just because you're not just running or pushing every single play. It's kind of just controlled, chaotic movements that aren't necessarily putting me at a bunch of risk. So if I was going to be able to play in that game, just with the hype around it and how much it meant, I was going to do my best to get out there and play.
There's a video from the sideline that's kind of making the rounds of just you really having a really impassioned talk to the offense, the whole offense, particularly the offensive line. I don't even know exactly when in the game it was. I'm guessing the second half. What all are you saying there? And again, like after the fact, just seeing like how this fan base in the final home game and everything else has really just kind of embraced how much you're doing, not just on the field, but being that showing those kind of things of leadership where it goes unseen by so many.
Yeah, well, I give credit to our guys. We have a team to where you are capable of doing that, and when things are going a little slow and got to get on the same page, just getting the guys in a group, having them focus and relax for a second, knowing that all it takes is just a few plays to get right back on track. And Saturday was weird kind of for our offense because it wasn't as much of mobility with quarterback, so it kind of took some plays out. It wasn't as much movements with shots, and so kind of put us into a weird situation, but I felt like we handled it well and we made the most of it when we had to, and then our defense came in clutch to win the game. But I think that sometimes those are just needed in important situations. You'd rather it be said than go unsaid and not have that kind of conversation, and then look back and say, man, we just were a little bit off. I wish we would have just got on the same page a little faster. But like I said, the guys took it really well. We have guys where they're competitive enough to where you can challenge them and they'll respond, and you can challenge them and they'll see how I respond to it. And so it's really good for an offense if stuff like that can happen with players, and it doesn't have to be coaches all the time.
Did you realize in real time that until the third down run at the end that all 14 prior third downs were passes? And was that by happenstance, or was that part of the game? I can't imagine that was part of the game plan given your situation.
Yeah, I didn't even know that stat, but that was just what we were dealt, the hand we were dealt. again, like I go back and say, it was just a strange situation, a strange game for our offense because just lack of kind of took the play calling sheet and made it a little smaller. So Coach Dillingham was challenged, and I thought he did a really good job of overcoming the difficulties of that kind of game.
5 or 6 games Oregon State's played, they've only allowed like 11 points. Just what stands out about them? What makes them so good at that?
Yeah, they're giving up about 12 points a game in that stretch. They're doing a really good job. We're going to really have to do well and execute the plays and not really get in our own way, and because we know they're going to make plays, and we have to limit the times that we kill ourselves.
You've been so dynamic in terms of scrambling and getting out of the pocket. Did you have to kind of hold yourself back in those instances? Like, could you feel like any moment where you needed to step up, maybe run, or you chose not to because of your foot, or kind of what was that dynamic of picking and choosing those?
Yeah, it was just being aware. I'd like to get out, and the one to T. Ferg, I just instinctively did it, and thank goodness it was to the right. Just got out there, had enough mobility to do that. But the worst thing you want to do is just get in there and like aggravate it and be tough for the rest of the game and have a little setback. But good thing is I can manage stuff like that. I can kind of control pocket movements. I can control, like I said, I did it before in high school. You got to turn into a legitimate pocket passer and take that scrambling part of your game away. And fortunately, I'm able to do that, and I can kind of flip the switch a little bit.
Oregon State's got a couple of just really weird splits defensively in terms of like 7 or 8 interceptions inside opponent territory on first downs.
Wow.
And don't allow a lot of deep shots because they keep zone back. And
Yeah.
When you're looking on tape in terms of how do you see how they're able to do that, how they're able to both keep the top on the coverage and play off and at the same time generate that many takeaways, on P and 10 and early downs?
They do a good job of kind of changing up the coverage in the back end, always in a zone to where they keep things in front of them, and then they got underneath players that are kind of dropping and blitzing from like each play is probably a little different. So they do a good job of mixing it up, and guys, if they're not careful, can be in windows where you're not expecting them to be, and so you really got to get a good beat on your formations and how they line up to your formations and that kind of stuff. But we know it's going to be a tough battle. Their defensive coordinator's extremely smart. He does a really good job. He puts his defense in a really good position, and then they play just very well together. They have good ball skills in the back end. So it's going to be important for us, like I said, just to execute plays, get our eyes up, and see what's coming so that we can execute.
How much of a factor is Jaden Grant, number 3, there with the way they kind of move him around and give different looks at that?
Yeah, he does a good job in the back end, sometimes getting in the box. And I believe they've had a few injuries, so that's probably kind of shaking things up back there and had to move some guys around. And but what I noticed on video is multiple guys playing multiple different positions in the back end, so they're pretty versatile back there.
How ready is Ty? I mean, obviously you were a game time decision. He might have had to go. How ready is he for an opportunity like that?
I think he's extremely ready. I got to watch him from afar and kind of notice how he prepared for a game like that, and I was impressed. I was impressed at how he was able to focus so well despite the distractions. All of a sudden like that, you got people, speaking of phones blowing up, you got people like that reaching out and like guys you haven't heard of trying to distract you and be a little it's tough to monitor, but I thought he did a good job of kind of understanding the moment, playing within the moment, practicing really well, film study, game planning. Like I said in Saturday's interview, I had to, since I wasn't getting physical reps, I had to use him for some resources and information that I wasn't getting on the field, and he did a really good job. He was able to relay that to me, and then it transitioned to on the field. He was seeing things because he was dialed in to what we've done during the week and different checks and talking me through it. So he was really prepared. He would have been really successful, I think, if he had been on the field.
Between your situation and obviously that being a little bit prohibitive to playing under center and Alex being out, didn't see anything under center last week. Makes sense. I'm curious, how many snaps under center have you worked with Ryan, even in practice situation, to where that would have even been viable? Like, if not for the
we would have been good to go. I think you look at health with the two of us, just with Ryan and I not having as many practice reps that week. I think that was just kind of what changed, and a lot of rotation at centers. Nobody knew who was going at quarterback, so just wanted to take that maybe what could turn into a negative out of it and just kind of play it safe. But we do a good job of, it's kind of a revolving door. We get snaps with centers over and over, and so I think had we both been healthy, we'd have been right back to what we do in our game. So.